With number 4, we actually don't need to solve anything here, and don't be afraid of the words. Let's just read it and see what it says. Raul spends $23 on movie tickets for him and his girlfriend, and now he's got 18 bucks left over. Write an equation in Mathlish to describe how much money Raul had before he went to the movies. Now, what we mean by Mathlish here is that we've got a bunch of words, and we want to take these words and we want to translate, and we want to say the same thing without having to write all the words. So what do I mean by that is that if I in Mathlish, and by the way, you speak Mathlish, you may not believe it or not, but you do speak Mathlish. If I write this, right, what does that say? Well, it says 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you're like, well, duh. Well, the alternative is that if I wrote that in English, I could have written this out. 2 plus 2 equals 4. But the problem is that one, it's a lot quicker and easier just to write that instead of writing all that. And the second thing is that you may have heard of math being a universal language. So the thing is that people from different parts of the world may not say this because we may speak a different spoken language, French, German, Italian, Spanish, whatever it might be. But the idea is that if two people may speak this differently, but they speak this the same. So not only is it a smaller, more convenient or easier way to communicate certain things, it's also something that translates regardless of spoken language. So just in the same way that that you could think of is that instead of writing all this stuff out, I wrote that. I'm going to do the same thing here with this. So, and we're trying to describe how much money he had before. How much money, so we want to describe how much money Raul had before he went to the movies. Well, I don't know how much money he had before he went to the movies. So we use variables. So if you don't know a number, well, use a variable. So I don't know how much money he had before he went to the movies. If we're talking about money, I mean, I could use X or Y or whatever, but if we're talking about money, right, that's what we're talking about money, well, let's just say M. So the amount of money he had before, which I don't know, but then what he does is he spends, well, so if you spend something, that's not more, that's less, right? So we're going to say that that if he spends it, that's subtract. So we're going to say minus, how much did he spend? Well, he spent $23. And then what they're telling us is that he now has $18. So he had some money, spent $23 at the movies, and now he has $18. So what I did is that I translated this from English, all these words, into Mathlish. I don't necessarily need to solve that, but if you wanted to solve that just for fun, what would that end up being there? Well, it looks like it would end up being 41, because if 41 minus 23, right, if we had to borrow there, would give us 18. But we didn't need to necessarily even really solve that. The point of this question was really just to translate. All right, so go ahead and pause now. Try 4.2.